Hello and welcome back to another EU4 time-lapse. If you're new to this series, let me quickly clue you in. So this will be a 1444 through 1821 time-lapse. We'll just have a look about the map, just commentate on what's going on, but of course there is a twist. I was playing as one of these nations on Iron Man mode through the entire campaign. And it's up to you, dear viewer, to figure out which one I was. So the way this works is you comment down below who you thought I was, and if you're correct, and you're one of the first 5 people to say the correct nation, you'll get a shout out in the reveal video. These videos do take a long time to produce, so I would really appreciate it if you gave this video a like. Of course, comment down below for a chance to get a shout out in the reveal video, and subscribe if you want to see more. But let's get right into it. Just starting off on slow now to see if there's anything going on. Taking a look around Europe, maybe in the Ming area. A few changes going on here in the Indian Peninsula with Gujarat, Malwa coming bigger a bit there. Not many changes down here. Poland have taken a few provinces off the Teutonic Order. The Papal State growing, taking over Ferrara and Urbino, its vassal state. Muscovy there taking only a couple provinces off Novgorod, including Novgorod itself. The Ottomans being fairly simple. Ragusa has taken over Bosnia as well as Hungary. Naples appears to be growing ever so slightly. Oh, and Florence growing into central Italy there. The Timurids fairly large, but we'll expect them to collapse later on in the game as they usually do. England has pushed into mainland France, not quite given up all its holdings yet, but we'll see if this produces anything interesting. Poland coming around into even some of the Baltic states here. Muscovy and the Ottomans, of course, pushing into these horde lands. Muscovy will probably form Russia fairly early. The Mamluks still holding on, pushed down a little bit into the Arabian Peninsula. There's a massive cock on the map. Definitely in this peninsula here, Bengal, Malwa and Vijayanagar seem to be fighting for the thing. Delhi not far behind. We'll see how this progresses. Not too much going on in Central Europe. Naples is growing quite well, even pushing down into Africa. Denmark is conquered as vassal Norway. Lithuania even expanding a bit into these horde lands here. Korea is pushed up into the Manchurian lands. They'll be looking to fight against their rivals Japan, as well as break free of Ming's control. Over here in South America, the Inca have formed. Other than that, very little. Not many of these nomadic tribes doing much, unfortunately. There we go, France have gained dominance, kicked England out of their mainland. The Ottomans remaining fairly static, except for this expansion in Crimea. Friesland growing big, as well as Bohemia really cutting up into these Silesian lands, taking a little bit off of Saxony, but Saxony in turn moving over into central Germany there. Lorraine carving out a big chunk where Burgundy would have been. It did not go well for Burgundy, it seems. Mainz even having a few provinces there. Muscovy, I don't know if it's released Perm, but Perm's definitely grown. Everyone likes a big Perm. Ethiopia seems to be the dominant Coptic. Oh, still somewhat dominant there. Not too much going on in Western Africa. Songhai looking like the big dogs at the moment. Kilwa has expanded into Madagascar, but other than that, not made too much strides up this eastern coast here. Oh, Russia has formed. Lithuania growing even further. Poland and Lithuania don't seem to have formed the Commonwealth just yet. However, if they do, this may be a big problem for Russia. Austria has finally joined its crowns with Hungary. And Naples growing into Italy. England asserting its dominance, taking over Scotland there, as you can see. They'll probably form Britain fairly soon. Not too much to say, but the massive cock has disappeared and Tibet takes its place. Malwa's disintegrated Vijayanagar, and they seem to be the dominant force here on the Indian Peninsula. Yemen is taking over the southern part of the Arabian Peninsula, and Akhmet Warsangli seems to have cut into these Ethiopian lands just a tiny bit, and a massive luba there. Speaking a bit more about some of the colonization, Portuguese, all down Argentine and Brazil lands. Spain has gotten this northern part of Mexico, and the British going for their usual 13 colonies area, as well as what looks like a little bit down here in Florida, so that should be interesting. France also a little bit in these Venezuelan, Colombian lands. Morocco pushing a little bit up into Spain here. Spain seems to have been slightly caught on its worst foot here with Leon forming there. Oh, Denmark has taken over Sweden. And as well as the Polish have pushed into Russia as well. Russia seems to be really on the back foot, and this won't be good considering there is a very strong Ottoman down here in Oceania. Portuguese have colonized. Japan has formed, and Oirat seems to have gotten itself into these Manchurian areas. Very good there. Austria looking a little bit worse for wear, especially with the Ottomans pushing in. Styria formed. Naples still expanding, seems to be dominant within these Mediterranean islands, and forming Italy there. The Netherlands have also formed. Mainz, Trier seems to be quite dominant so far. Bohemia pushing away some of these Saxony lands. Looking back at the colonies, 13 colonies, and looking very strong. The French pushing into this Mississippi heartland here, as well as Spain still expanding in northern Mexico. France looking to get a foothold here in the northern and southern America, and as well as the Dutch taking over Panama. There we go, Kilwa's looking to take full control of its potential, taking over Matapa, which was here. The Mamelukes being crushed by the Ottomans, despite gaining a little bit of territory there. Kazakh seems to have pushed Uzbek practically off the map. It's not going to look too good for them, especially as bigger nations look to expand into these areas, possibly Oirat, Russia, or even the very quickly encroaching Poland and Lithuania. Scandinavia has formed, one that usually doesn't happen this quickly, in 1666. Here we can see we have Tripoli, not usually a big contender down there, in Kabulia. They'll probably be facing off against Italy soon. Probably won't go well for them. Sind is cutting deep into the Indian peninsula, as well as Bengal finding its feet in Delhi. These are looking to be big contenders. If one can defeat the other, we're going to look at a massive country here, possibly a Bharat if they are Hindu. Japan here taking over the Korean peninsula, asserting their dominance there, perhaps getting a foothold in the mainland. But oh, very interesting here. The Ming are starting to colonize, especially with that lack of Russian colonization. This area is going to be up for grabs. Yemen is actually looking quite a big player on the southern Arabian Peninsula, as well as expanding into former Ethiopia. Perhaps they are allied with the Ottomans, and that's why they haven't been crushed just as yet. France seems to have pushed into the lowlands, gaining quite a lot more than its usual blob. Very good. Poland pushing further into Russia, looking very menacing so far. Italy as well, gaining ground in northern Africa. Spain taking over a lot of Western Africa as well. Over back here in the colonies, a little bit of Dutch there, mostly Portuguese in Southern America. Spain, however, have quickly colonized all this western coast, and the British pushing further into Canadian and North American lands. Lubeck there, getting around its centre of trade, but probably going to look a little bit threatened by bigger contenders such as Mainz here in Poland. Austria not looking too menacing at the moment. Italy seems to have pushed further into these northern Italian areas. And there you go, the Ottomans have crushed the Mamelukes. They've even crushed Yemen, who I thought might have been an ally, but apparently not. They are really looking menacing now. It's between them and Poland pushing into Scandinavia, shattered under their winged hussars, no doubt. Ansbach and Trier, as well as Hesse. Savoy still standing. It looks like this central German area is a bit of a free-for-all at the moment, different countries popping in and out of dominance. Lithuania expanding into these steppe areas, especially where you'd expect Kazakh lads to be. Poland shattering Russia, who's trying to expand away but just can't seem to get away from these two powerhouses. Mazandaran looking fairly decent in these Persian areas, along with Karakoyunlu. Bengal looking very menacing. I imagine they have a decent bit of trade now. They've pushed all the way into this peninsula here. Spain looking fairly dominant on this coast of Africa. Italy not changing too much, generally the same. Trier growing just a tiny bit, and Savoy getting cracked open by the French. Nothing too much going on colonially, except for in the south perhaps with the British and the French pushing out the Dutch, the Spanish even pushing into Eastern Africa here. Kilwa, as strong as they are relatively, they'll always get pushed out later game. And there we go, Majafat, usually a big Hindu contender, is being pushed out by the French. The British finally managed to get just a tad of the Australian island there. Lithuania looking really big and strong. Poland and Lithuania. Oh, just did I say that? They crack open just a tad. Italy finally forming its natural borders. Ottomans pushing in. Looks like they've cracked the Polish. Apparently the Polish and Lithuanian alliance there was not enough to keep off the big powerhouse of the game, really. Trier looking strong. Yep, Trier looking very strong here. Probably allied with France. That's probably the only reason they've not been crushed. And very little else going on. Spain having a little bit of colonization here. Of course, the Ottomans pushing into Kilwa there. In terms of colonial land, not much has changed. It feels like this has seemed to be the natural ending to the game. Oirat looking very big, having these Manchurian lands now, despite seeming to lose a bit to Russia there. However, Russia's really not looking in good form, even with these rebel lands here. Spain looking fairly dominant within southern Africa there. Portuguese having the tip, France pushing in, but I doubt they'll have much to contend against with the Ottomans here, but that seems to be the end here. Very interesting run with very powerful Lithuania and Poland here. They obviously didn't form their Commonwealth, but that just allowed the Ottomans to really hit in on those really not coordinating countries. The Ming doesn't seem to have expanded too much, probably taking big control of its tributaries, and that's where it found its real strength and power. In Central Europe, we had several forming countries. Scandinavia before it got completely wiped. Obviously the Netherlands, a bit more common. Italy, somewhat uncommon. And colonially, well, it's pretty much what you'd expect. The usual colonial nations pushing out all the former tribes. But no, that's it. As always, try and comment down below to who you think I was playing as, and the first 5 people, if we get 5 people, will be mentioned within the reveal video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.